Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and we've got some big stories to talk about. Obviously it's still very centred on Jong, but there is a bit of a Dutch three-way going on here. Because Erik ten Hag, apparently, according to Rob Dawson's, we'll put that update up for you on the screen in a minute, is saying that he wants to get a head start on transfer news, and he's actually holding a meeting in Amsterdam today with Manchester United's recruitment team. There's also another story coming out saying that Erik ten Hag wants Jong and Ligt, plus we've got some interesting developments on Jong from Spain, Barcelona, basically putting him up for sale, and this is why this story is developing, and Man City pulling out of the race. So positives. Lots to talk about. But first of all, as you can see, we're sponsored by OneFootball on the show. I'm sure you've heard me talk about OneFootball many times. OneFootball is the place where you can get on an app, on Android and on Apple, the other one. You can download it for free in the link in the description, or you can scan your QR code. But OneFootball is the place where you can get all your football news in all the one place. All the transfer news, all the stats, all the league tables, all the scores. You can do it. So why don't you do it? Links in the video description, and you can scan the QR code, as I've said. Big shout out to OneFootball. I use it all the time to get my football news, my transfer news, score notifications. So if you want to be the most informed football fan in the world, then head to the description or scan the QR code, and you can do that today totally free. So thanks very much to OneFootball for supporting the channel, and make sure you support the channel by downloading it and getting your app downloaded for free today. Right, just want to get this up on the screen here so you can read it as well. Where was I? So where do we start? Which one should we start with? We'll start off with this one. I think this is the one that I'm most that I like the most at the moment. So Erik ten Hag wants Frankie de Jong and Ligt. This is coming from European sources, as you can see. Lots going on around Manchester United. We do need to be very careful. Welcome to the members club, Matthias de Ligt. It's not him, but no, I do think we need to be very careful, because we are Manchester United. We always get linked to everybody a lot, but it's interesting because De Ligt, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on De Ligt. Still in his early 20s, playing for Juventus. We were linked to him a few years ago. Mino Raiola client at that time, obviously still is. But ultimately, we do seem to be getting linked to De Ligt quite a lot. Not like it's breaking news or anything like that, but there is De Ligt. He just keeps getting mentioned. And look, our centre-back focus has always been Timber, Rudiger's been mentioned, Torres has been mentioned, there's a few others, but De Ligt has sort of always been, oh, United would like De Ligt. And I've always thought, well, that's just because he used to play for Ajax under ten Hag. But with the development of the De Jong story, it wouldn't be a massive surprise to me if we suddenly were in for De Ligt. Now, he's got 2 years left on his contract at Juventus. Juventus, as we know with Ronaldo, will always look to offload expensive players on big wages to help them rebuild. So maybe there is a deal that can be done with De Ligt. We'll have to wait and see. It's only in its early days at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with De Ligt, because I do think that with him, it's, look, I'm sure Erik ten Hag would love him. I'm sure Erik ten Hag would absolutely love De Ligt at the club, and I would like him at Manchester United. He's a very, very good centre-back. I think De Ligt and Varane would be a centre-back pairing that, if they played to their maximum ability, would be a very, very impressive back four, and a very different type of back four to what we've seen over the last decade at United. So, look, keep it on the back burner. Let's wait and see what happens with it. But I wouldn't be surprised if at some point United were in for him. What would we have to pay for him? I'm gonna bow down to the knowledge in the chat here. How much did Juventus pay Ajax for De Ligt? I don't remember. I think he might have been out of contract. I think he might have been a free agent. I'm not sure. His release clause is 130 million, says Mehil, but that doesn't mean that they'll get a release clause. De Jong and De Ligt are the two players I wanted the most. If this happens, we can already rate this transfer window at least 7, says Shahin. He's captain material as well, says Buxy. He's like Maguire, says Abhishek. You need to get out more and watch more football, mate. But yeah, I think that they paid £75 million for him on a release clause. Yeah, so we're not going to get him. We're not going to get him then. Straight away, I would say we're not going to get him, because I can't see us spending 75 million on De Jong, 75 million on De Ligt. That's two players, and you spent your transfer budget. So yeah, maybe that's the end of that one then, to be honest with you, because I just can't see that happening unless we got him for really cheap. I just can't I can't see that happening. I wouldn't spend that. I wouldn't spend 80, 75 million on Ligt anyway. But look, if Ten Hag wants him and the board back him, then you've got to go. Well, they've backed him, but to me, I will stay on target that if we spent 75 on De Ligt and 75 on De Jong and that's our transfer budget gone, that's a bad summer for me. I'm sorry, they're good players, but it's a bad summer, and I'm not going to pretend that it's a good one just because we spend a lot of money on 2 players. A centre-back and a midfielder ain't good enough. This team is shit. Absolutely shit. You cannot just add 2 players to it and go crack on with it. He needs 4 or 5 players this summer, so... yeah, maybe the De Ligt story is a little bit off. Mark, I have a bad feeling about the transfer. Just when it looked like we were starting to clear our overplayed, hyped marquee players, says Yosh. Not everyone's pro De Jong, to be fair. I'm sure it was only a few days ago we spoke about having a Haaland transfer reality check. Maybe we should send the video over to Ten Hag, says Nick P. And welcome to the Members Club Endeavour. Yeah, look, I think with I mean, this is a very interesting update from Rob Dawson. He says Erik Ten Hag will hold a recruitment meeting with Man United representatives in Amsterdam today. Potential ins and outs are going to be discussed. This is music to my ears. This is absolutely incredible. This is definitely maybe Oasis on a sunny afternoon with a gin and tonic. Fantastic, love it, absolutely love it. Straight to work. Straight to work. We're becoming Brentford 2.0. Slow Sports News, how can we Brentford 2.0? I don't even understand what that means. De Ligt's contract, it doesn't run out for 2 years, so you could probably get him for about 50 million, really, to be honest with you. But I wouldn't rule it out. But obviously these are the sort of conversations that are going to be going on between Erik Ten Hag and the Manchester United recruitment team today. They'll be bringing to the table. I mean, this is. I just want to spend a couple of minutes on this because this is really big. If this is true that Erik Ten Hag is holding a recruitment meeting with Manchester United today, this is majorly significant for us as fans because it's only the 12th of May. Still got 3 weeks until the start of June. Transfer window opens up when? Somebody will know in the chat. Don't forget about the potential free transfers, says Ash as well. So if he's sitting down now with Manchester United representatives, I can imagine the scenario. You've got the United. He says to the United representatives, "Well, where do you think this team needs to improve?" And they'll go midfield, centre back, forward, maybe another midfielder, and he'll go, "Good. Who have you got in mind?" Calvin Phillips. Get out! I'm staying at Ajax. No, but seriously, they'll go Calvin Phillips, Ruben Neves, Lema is an option. Ranić mentioned him. Centre backs, your lad Timber, Torres from Villarreal. Forwards, Darwin Núñez, Nkunku, Calvert-Lewin. I've got to talk about Calvert-Lewin actually. We have been linked to Calvert-Lewin by the Telegraph. I mean, let me be happy first. James says, new to the channel, love the content, Mark. Do you think implementing a better quality midfield too can help Fernandes play higher and return to form, says James. I'm going to show you something, James. I'm going to show you this in a minute, and I'm going to show you about De Jong and where he actually plays. So, yes, we will go through that in a short moment. But thank you very much for your super chat. Welcome to the channel. I have a bad feeling this, Mark, and the board will again betray another manager, and Ten Hag will be the next scapegoat, says Ryan. Well, I don't really want your negativity, but I'm not going to deprive your negativity because, of course, this community is always about both sides. Is it possible we spent a bit more this summer? Being in the Europa and a new coach, I'm predicting a net spend of 200 million. I hope so. FIFA Crazy, if we spend 200 million, it's a different story. If we're spending 200 million, you can get De Jong, De Ligt and Núñez. And you'll do that all under 200 million. But are we going to spend 200 million? Average players at best, all these guys, says Glenn. So, look, Ten Hag's going to be sitting there going through the list of players that the club have been scouting. That may well include the Núñez and the Neves and the Phillips of this world. And then Ten Hag will go, I like that player, let's pursue it. I don't like that player, I've got an idea of my own. I like this player. And that's the exciting thing about this meeting. Erik Ten Hag won the title with Ajax last night. Today, he's apparently sitting down with the United recruitment team talking about ins and outs. Because he will know that it's not in his best interests to be out on the piss celebrating an Ajax result for a few days when those few days could be the difference between getting a De Jong and getting a Calvin Phillips, and therefore it's in his interest to get to work. I love it when I see everything that needs to be done that would have us playing football the way Man United should be, says Tom Best. Welcome to the Members Club Colton. So that recruitment meeting meant to be going on today, which brings me nicely on to what I wanted to talk about, which is Frankie de Jong does not want to leave. Now, this is coming from a good source close to Barcelona. Frankie de Jong does not want to leave Barcelona. He wants to succeed at Barcelona and feels Xavi's confidence. He suspects that the club has moved him over onto the market and is upset with everything that appears about his future. That source also goes on to say that Barcelona have effectively put de Jong up for sale, which takes us on to what James Ducker has said from the Telegraph. And he is saying this. He is saying that Manchester United, Barcelona need to sell players to help fund other deals, given the club's huge debt and struggles to meet La Liga's salary. And that is very, very interesting, because he also goes on to say that United want 2 midfielders and that Man City are out of the race. But let's just dwell on this for a moment, because I think we can now establish the truth of what's going on here. De Jong is being sold by Barcelona. I'm off. See you later. That's the story. I could have done it in 10 seconds, but that is the story. De Jong is being sold by Barcelona. Barcelona are selling De Jong because they need to raise money to rebuild their team. If they don't sell De Jong next season, they're the same team as they are this season. Barcelona need to buy players in the summer. That for their fans, for their development. They don't have the funds to do it, so they've put De Jong on this up for sale, and that's what this is all about. Barcelona are selling De Jong. Manchester United want to buy De Jong, and De Jong needs to get his head around what he wants to do, because he could just say, "I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. This party goes on." DiCaprio style, The Wolf of Wall Street. But he could do that, and maybe that still will happen. But you know, everything we spoke about this morning was there that United are interested, but it's a very difficult deal to do. But Barcelona are definitely pushing this deal, and it is about financials. James Ducker in the Telegraph also goes on to say that Manchester United are looking at 2 midfielders this summer, and that Manchester City have distanced themselves from the deal. Which is interesting, because I think that Man City would be the signing that Man City would be the club that I think would really want De Jong. I think it'd be perfect for the way that Pep Guardiola plays football, and I feel that they being out of the race gives us a better chance. Feeling sick at the thought of City selling Jesus and Silva to steal De Jong from under our noses and play him alongside Rodri and De Bruyne to win the quadruple, says Duncan. Well, apparently this is not the case. And apparently Man City will not be making a move for him. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But it brings me nicely onto what I wanted to just talk about. Let me see if I can get this working, because I can see at the moment I'm not on the screen, and I need to be on the screen. Okay. There I am. Hello. Why don't we do the same as Barca with Rashford, says Julian. Yeah, good idea. So, Frankie de Jong is not a centre defensive midfielder. Whether he comes to Manchester United or Manchester City or Barcelona or whatever, I really think that some people have really got lost on 2 things here. One, why are we spending so much on a player who's not a CDM? Frankie de Jong solves Manchester United's CDM issue, but he is not a CDM. Well, I don't get it. I just don't. That doesn't make any sense. He's not a CDM, but how does he solve the issue? Because if you look at this United side here, this would be, I've put him there, number 21, Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong here, let's take the team from the weekend. Okay, so I've took McTominay out and I put de Jong in, right? De Jong and Matic is a midfield 2. He plays in a 4-2-1-3, whatever you want to call it. So that's where De Jong plays. De Jong does not do this. He doesn't sit in front of the back 4 like Rodri or Fabinho and take the ball off the back 4. De Jong plays here. He can play here, but he plays here. He plays in a midfield 2. And basically, what De Jong does is this. Obviously, De Gea is not going to play. I know we want De Gea to be a bit of a sweeper keeper. He doesn't come that high. David, you need to go back and goal. But, yeah. The team with De Jong in it, and this is where De Jong does all his damage in this half. Pressing, breaking up the play, running the game. This is where De Jong works. That's why you need to play a high line. De Jong doesn't do this. There's no point in doing that. This is where De Jong works. This is how I see Manchester United under Erik ten Hag. Halfway line defending with 2 midfielders dictating the press in front of them. That is what Erik ten Hag will do with Manchester United, and that is why De Jong is a solver of our CDM problem, because we don't play a holding CDM anymore. We play 2 midfielders. Now that could be Matic next to him, it could be Fred next. Well, it won't be Matic. It could be Fred next to him. It could be Lema next to him. It could be Kamara. It could be Tchouaméni. It could be Bassu. Who knows who it could be? But this is how Manchester United are going to play, and this is how De Jong solves Manchester United's CDM problem. He is not a CDM, but United under Ten Hag are going to play exactly like that. We're going to play a high line with 2 midfielders, forcing the press, dictating the game, high up the pitch, high possession. This is how Ten Hag is going to try and play with Manchester United. And in that situation, you don't need a holding midfielder that is just going to sit here in front of 2 people. It's just not how we're going to play. He can drop in and a centre-back can go forward. He can drop in and a full-back can go forward, but he will play in a 2. And it does solve our problem. And maybe that's why we're looking to buy 2 midfielders, because that's how we can do it. I hope there's some truth in that. I hope we are looking at 2 midfielders, because I'd really like to see United bringing in a couple of midfielders. Whether we will do or not, I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see. But he's certainly a player that solves our problem, and we won't play a holding midfielder. Can't it be Van der Beek next to him, says Vinit. I mean, I'm not going to start talking about that. I don't want to get into the tactical arguments. I feel like Ollie now. We could talk tactics all day, Kadaki. Look, could Van der Beek play there next to De Jong in where Matic is? Yes, he could. I don't know whether it would work, but you could do it, because what people are thinking about there, we're not defensively strong enough, and when we play Liverpool, that defensive line is going to go very much like this. David, you need to come back again. In which case, we're not always going to be able to play high up the pitch. Can De Bruyne and De Jong, can Van der Beek and De Jong do it? These are the issues that Erik ten Hag is going to have to solve. No more Scooby-Doo in the lineup, says John. Maybe he could put him there. I'm all on board with these signings, but why get players that we know are going to be Ten Hag favourites isn't going to cause more problems, says Mando. Welcome to the Members Club, Anthony. Every manager has favourites. I'm not opposed to favourites. I don't know why people get so. I think we've had such a bad season that people almost want to include things into issues that are not issues. Favourites are not a problem. My favourite players at Manchester United are Ronaldo, Bruno, Rashford, Martial, Van der Beek, Luke Shaw, David De Gea. These are the players that I would class as probably my favourite players. Nothing wrong with having favourite players. It's about having an agenda with that favouritism. Like, if Luke Shaw doesn't play well, he shouldn't play. If Bruno's not playing well, he should be dropped, like I've said. The problem we've had under Ollie was that he had his favourites and he picked them every week. And he didn't rotate the team. And I don't think as long as Ten Hag can have his favourites, you have to have favourites to pick a favourite 11. But Sir Alex Ferguson had his favourites, says Lee Holden as well. Welcome to the Members Club, Samuel. But it's about the agenda. It's not about having the agenda. Mark, can you give us a realistic transfer window, says Fian? I mean, I think hopefully we can do over the next few weeks, but it's difficult to do it at the moment. I mean, there was another story that came out today from the Telegraph. It wasn't from James Ducker, thank God, saying that United have held talks or are interested in signing Calvert-Lewin. And this just terrifies me. Can you see a triple Ajax reunion, says Ball. I mean, I wouldn't say it's impossible. I really wouldn't say it's impossible, but we'll have to just wait and see. But Calvert-Lewin, that terrifies me. First and foremost, let's talk football. Everton have nearly got relegated this season. He spent most of the season injured or playing shit. So why would United want to buy a player like that? Also, Everton would want decent money if they stay up. Why would you pay a lot of money for him? Welcome to the Members Club, Dan. So, from a footballing ability, I just don't think Calvert-Lewin offers anything. The one thing I would say is, as a bench option, that's exactly what he would be for a top 4 side. A bench option. He's not a player that I think is going to develop into the heir of Ronaldo. he is literally a bench option. I don't think Calvert-Lewin's much better than Danny Welbeck, to be honest with you. Welcome to the Members Club, Ryan. So I don't want to go anywhere near Calvert-Lewin as a footballer, and hopefully it is just pure speculation. So, you know, maybe it's spin for a new contract. But also, as somebody said there, Calvin Klein, I mean, look, I get GQ magazine. I've seen him in there. Like, I've got nothing against footballers who want to do a bit of modelling on the side, but Man United need to steer away from that. It doesn't matter whether it's Calvert-Lewin or Totti or whoever. We cannot afford to buy players that are interested in off-the-field activities when they've not established themselves. Ronaldo can do stuff off the field because he's one of the greatest players that's ever been. I'm not interested in up-and-coming players who are too busy doing clotheslines and this, that and the other. We've fallen foul of that a lot, so I would steer clear of him for that reason as well. And people could say, "Oh, you're dinosaur, you're living in the past." Fine, call me a T-Rex. But the reality is, I like Triceratops actually. But the reality is, United do need to look at that sort of thing. I personally think it's really important that United look at the character and the way that players behave off the pitch, because what we need is we need prime Juan Matas. You know, and ironically, we ruined prime Juan Mata by putting him on the wing. But Juan Mata's focus and professionalism towards football is superb, and that's what United need. Who do you think would be a good replacement for Henderson if he hopefully leaves in the transfer window? Well, apparently Henderson wants to have a chat with Ten Hag about being number one. I'm next. I want to chat with Ten. If he can have a chat about being number one goalkeeper, I want to chat about playing CDM. But no, realistically, who's Man City's backup goalkeeper? Who's Liverpool's backup goalkeeper? I mean, who's Chelsea's backup goalkeeper? We only know them because Chelsea's was an expensive mistake. Liverpool's is, I think, Kelleher. He's coming through. He's quite a young goalkeeper. Man City's is reasonable. I mean, why is Tom Heaton not fine as a goalkeeper backup? Like, what's wrong with Tom Heaton as a backup goalkeeper? Why do we have to have two super goalkeepers? We're not even a top 4 team. I think United's... We've had a weird thing going on with our goalkeepers recently. To be honest with you, I'm not bothered. I'd keep Tom Heaton. That's for the next year. That's absolutely fine, because, as I said, I think keep De Gea number 1 next year. Keep Tom Heaton as the reserve keeper. Have a young lad as the third keeper, whatever. And then maybe next summer you buy a goalkeeper that's really going to put pressure on De Gea. That's what I think I would do. I read that Xavi confirmed that De Jong's situation is out of his hands. Does it indirectly confirm, says Sheikh? Look, if you're here for De Jong news, I will tell you now categorically that in relation to De Jong, it is becoming very, very obvious that Barcelona are trying to sell him. Doesn't mean they will sell him. We'll have to wait and see. But it's, without a shadow of a doubt, very, very clear that Barcelona are looking to sell. And that is very, very interesting, isn't it? Because they need to raise money, and I mean, I can. Sergio Romero never should have been let go. He was the perfect backup goalkeeper. But as I said this morning, Barcelona situation. You don't need to do an analogy. It's very, very simple. Barcelona are a team that has got massive financial issues, who've got a good rebuild going on with Xavi, and they want to continue that rebuild. They've got no money to spend, and basically Barcelona are saying, look, we can bring 3 players in by selling De Jong. Yes, he's a great player and he's a big part of your plans, but we remove De Jong, we bring 3 players in. Sometimes you have to do that if you're a club that needs to sell. De Jong will solve a lot of the midfield problems. Also, someone to take the number 21 shirt, says Jamie. And how different is De Jong to Pogba, says Akshay. Oh, I mean, they're very different, actually. I mean, I think De Jong is. I've done a video. If you remember, check out the video that we've put up this morning, which is De Jong comparable to Matic and Rodri, just comparing loads of different areas of their game, their pressing ability, their defensive stats, the aerials, the passing, the forward passing, the progressive runs. It's all there on our latest members video. If you are a member, if you're not, click the join button, and thank you very much for supporting the show. But in relation to what De Jong is. I think he's a very unique player. I think he's got the lot. I think his defensive side of his game is a little bit understated. I think he does a lot of his defensive work in the opposition half. I don't think he's an amazingly good presser. I mean, he is decent at it, but he's not relentlessly good at pressing like a Lema or a Kante. But he's very intelligent in the way that he presses, and he's very good at reading the game. On the ball, he's always got his head up. He's one of those players that if you look at some players, they're looking at the ball, they're looking down. He's one of those players that plays with his eyes up all the time. He sees the dangers. He sees where the tackles are coming from. He's always aware, looking around like that. He doesn't need to look at his feet. So very aware player. Nothing like Pogba, really. I know we have a restricted budget, but is it possible some deals agreed instalments in order to get more players done this summer? Says FIFA Crazy. Well, look, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm going to give a percentage actually on how I forgot. The Hotometer is back. If you don't know what the Hotometer is, where have you been? The Hotometer is back for the summer. I think we'll have to get onto Drawty to come up with some graphic for us. But I think that that with regards to what was the question there? I missed it. Yeah, sometimes you just got to simplify the transfer window, and most transfers are paid in instalments. If you pay £50 million for a player, you might play 10 million, 20 million, 20 million. Remember the Sancho deal? We really learnt about instalments, didn't we? Like it was going to be 20, 20, 10 or something like that at one point. How do we go from buying unknown talents to buying already famous, very famous players, says Ribber. And Zevez, welcome to the Members Club. Look, I think United do need to be looking at a couple of young players this summer as well. I'd like to see us do that. Hopefully that can happen. But I'm going to return the Hotometer. Now, what is the Hotometer? People are going to say, what is the Hotometer? And some people will know. But basically, I don't know when was the last summer we did it. I don't think we did it last summer. So I have a little table next to me of the top 7 United targets, and they have a mark out of 10. 10 means they're very hot. 10 is basically 100% sure you're going to happen. 1 means there's a 10% or a 1 out of 10 chance it's going to happen. So I'm going to bring it back virtually. You have to imagine it now. De Ligt, De Jong and Dolberg. I said it before, Mark, says Clarkey. So as a percentage, how confident am I that we're going to sign De Jong? I'm going to shock people here. 50-50 means at flip of a coin it'll happen, yeah? I'm going to say, and I don't know why I'm going to say it, but I'm going to say I'm 70% sure we're going to get De Jong. Oh, that's big. That's big. That's what she said. But that is big. 70% is very high. That means I'm confident that we're going to sign De Jong. Why am I confident? Because it just feels like there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than we're getting. And what I mean by that is, whether it's politics or sports, if you've been watching it for years, or even a soap on Coronation Street, you can detect a story, or watching a film. You know when you're watching a film and you've never watched it before, but you can see where it's going. This is exactly how I feel about De Jong. And that's why I'm 70% sure it's going to happen. Because I feel that this deal is more progressed than is actually being put public by the club or Barcelona. And I think Gerard Romero last night got some good information on that. And I don't think it's nearly done. As I said this morning, I think it might have a few more weeks to roll. But I definitely think it's far more advanced than anybody is daring to say. And the reasons for that is that Gerard Romero tweet last night was very, very confident. And then this morning, we've had loads of British press and Romano saying, yeah, United are interested. None of them have come out and said that we're not. And then you've got Barcelona, who are basically selling him because they need to raise funds. So I expect De Jong to leave Barcelona. I'm almost 95% sure he's going to leave by the look of it. Can't see how he stays, and therefore United are one of the few clubs that are going to really push hard for him with the money. So look, I'm 70% at the moment. That could change tomorrow, but I'm 70%. I think it's important Ten Hag gets a few good players in with character that he can trust. He needs to get his people in. I agree with that, Joshua. Connor, welcome to Members Club. I think De Jong is very similar to Thiago's style of play, says Jake Campbell. Well, look, none of us have seen De Jong play in the Premier League. So what he's done for Ajax, the Netherlands, Barcelona, it's relevant. It's why he's highly rated. But yeah, the Premier League's a different animal. But I'm 70% sure we're going to get him. And I'm really enjoying my FIFA career mode at the moment. I'll be playing on Twitch at just after 3 o'clock today, so just under an hour. I'm going to buy De Jong. I'm going to have to wait till the January transfer window. We're going to have to buy him, I think. What do you think of a player like Garner? I mean, Robert, for me, I don't want any pressure on James Garner anyway. I wouldn't mind James Garner going on loan next season. But look, there's a big chance that he will be given a chance by Ten Hag this summer, so we'll have to wait and see. We're back tonight at 7 o'clock. It's a 7 o'clock show tonight because the North London Derby is on at 8 o'clock, so I'm doing a That's Football watch-along for that. So it's a 7 o'clock show tonight. Make sure you tune in for that. I'm sure we'll have some more updates for you. Thanks everyone for watching. Please smash a like on the video and make sure you subscribe because we were live at 11 o'clock last night. There's so much going on. We will be going live at all sorts of times over the next 2 months. So subscribe. The best way to keep up to date is to click the subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner, turn your notifications on with your bell, and then you'll get your notifications. The Ligt is an upgrade but makes errors for Juve. Most centre backs make errors, Staj. And like you said earlier, the club hasn't come out to deny it. Most fans are now expecting us to sign De Jong. Not getting him will cause havoc for the board, says FIFA Crazy. Yeah, expectations are high. I think it's going to happen. I'm not going. Don't take that to the bank. I'm just saying. My prediction is that it's going to happen. I think there's a very strong chance. I've seen so many transfers over the years. This just feels like nobody's come out and said, no, it's not happening. It feels like it's going to happen. Thanks everyone who's joined the Members Club. You can watch a really good video we put up this morning where we deep dive into De Jong, talk more about what he's all about, etc. Statistically comparing him to Matic and Rodri and showing you why he's very different to Rodri. But Matic in his prime, there are similarities, although they're very different as well. If you want to watch that and you're a member, just go to the homepage. If you're not a member, click the join button. And of course, a big shout out to OneFootball who are sponsoring the show today. You can download it by scanning your camera phone against the QR code next to me, or you can go through the link in the description. It's free to download. Get all your latest football news, scores and updates on there. We'll see you at 7 o'clock. And if you want to watch my FIFA career mode, where I'm going to hopefully try and buy De Jong, you can tune in at 3 o'clock. I'll speak to you in a bit on Twitch or tonight